little baguettes, welcome to l'Académie Équilibre, and this is the third episode of the Back to the Basics series, and we're doing les articles partitifs. So let's get started then. Les articles partitifs. So we know what articles mean, right? But what does partitif mean? That is the important part. So partitif is your partitive in English. Okay. Now what does that mean? Let's simplify the word. So partitif means a part of something. For example, a bread. So a part of the bread, maybe one slice, two slice, right? Maybe you have a 10-liter bottle of water and you want some of the water. So when we're describing something of which we only want a little part, we call it les articles partitifs. Now, where do we use it? So, when I say that we want a part of something, that something is your food item. Okay, so you can also say these articles are used before food items, right? It can also be liquid, right? For example, water, juice, milk, etc., right? For example, when I say I want some water or I want some chocolate, I want some salad, so I use the word some. Now, this word some is very vague as in it's not very specific, but it's still telling you that you want a part of something. So it's not specific, but we use it a lot. As humans, we don't describe things very precisely, right? It's not exactly specific. You can't really put a number on it. But what is it? It's still a quantity, right? So when we describe that you want a part of something, you want a portion of something, we use the word some. I'll give an example in English. Now, between these two, what do we generally say? We say the second one more often, right? But here in the first one, the quantity is specific, and we don't really say that, right? Here, when I say some, here I'm putting a number. Here I'm saying some. Now, the more commonly said one is the second sentence. Okay, so here the quantity is unknown or unspecified quantity. Okay, but still we prefer the second one more because it tells us that you want it, you want some portion of it, right? And that is your les articles partitifs. Now, how do we do it in French? So, article partitif is nothing but the word some. That's it. The word some is article partitif. That's it. Okay, it's nothing difficult. Just the word, the fancy name for the word some is les articles partitifs, and we use it before a food item. Okay, now what we need to understand is that how do we write this word some in French and how do I use it? Now we know that every single thing in French has a gender. Even food has a gender, right? If I talk about milk, that is lait. So lait also has a gender. Lait is masculin singulier, right? If I talk about salad, for example, so salad, that is feminine singulier. So we know that if something ends from E, it is feminine. If it ends from S or X, it is plural. And if it doesn't end from E, S or X, it is masculine, like lait, that is your milk. If I say gâteau, it means cakes, right? Maybe more than one cake. Okay, so it becomes plural. So every food item or drink has a gender and number in French. That much we've understood, right? Through these examples. Now, why do we need to know that? We need to know that because this word some, that is our article partitif, it changes according to the gender and number. We'll come to that now. So what you need to know that it will have four forms. The word some will have four forms. First one is du. Second one is the, la. Then third one, the, le. And last one, they. Okay, these are our four forms of the word some. Now what you need to understand is what is the difference between them, right? So all four of them mean the same thing, that is some, and all four of them are used before food items or drinks. First one is used for masculin singulier. Your food item or your drink is called noun together. So du is used before nouns that are masculine singulier. For example, lait, that is milk. So I want to say some milk. So it becomes du lait. Okay. Then de, la. Gender has to be feminine and the number has to be singular. So it becomes feminine singular. For example, salad. De la salad. That is some salad. Then the le. Now this one is for vowels, that is voyelle. The gender doesn't matter, okay? It can be masculine vowel, it can be feminine vowel, right? But it needs to start from a vowel and it has to be singular, okay? Now what are the vowels in French? We already know A, E, I, O, U and H. Okay, for example, some water. So water in French is O. So I'll put the le O. And now we come to the easiest one, that is they. As long as it's plural, that is pluriel, which means it either ends from S or it ends from X, it is considered plural. The gender does not matter. Okay, so whether it's masculine or it's feminine or it starts from a vowel, that does not matter. What only thing that matters is that the word has to be plural. Now it's obviously really easy. All you need to understand is what does it mean, right? That is the word some. And we use it before food items and liquids, right? And this sum has four forms in French. All four of them mean the same thing. The only difference is that it changes according to the gender and number of your food item or your drink, that is your noun. Now there's another topic under this, which is negative. So we're going to learn, if we're talking about food items, how do we do negative of it. First we'll understand in English. This is my sentence, I want some bread. So in English, I say I don't want any bread. Now, what is the difference between these two sentences? Here, the some becomes any. Same way, these four will also change into something if you're making into negative. Now, what do they change into? So in French, the du, the la, the le, and they becomes, this is extremely important, it becomes de or d apostrophe. So these are used in the positive sentences and they mean some, and this is used in negative sentences and it means any. Okay, so whenever you're making the sentence into ne pas, so we make it de or d apostrophe, which means any. So it is extremely easy to pick which one of these we should choose. So here we had in positive, we have four choices, right? So we need to think about the gender, we need to think about the number, right? Is it masculine, feminine, vowel, plural, singular, when we're doing it in a positive sentence. But when we're doing it in negative, there's only two options, that is de or d apostrophe. Okay, so de is used for all the food items that start from a consonant. Now what is a consonant? Any letter, all of the letters that are not vowels, we call them consonant. Okay, so gender does not matter, whether it's masculine, whether it's feminine, whether it's plural, whether it's singular, we use de. This one is only and only used for the words that start from a vowel. Okay, now as long as it starts from a, e, I, o, u and h, we will use d apostrophe in the negative sentence. It does not matter whether it's singular or plural, masculine or feminine, we will use d apostrophe. Now one mistake that students do all the time is that they mix these two up. So what you need to understand, these four are separate. All four of them mean some, and these two are separate, they mean any. We'll take an example. Now I want to say some. How will I pick which one of these four sums should I use? So pain is your masculine. It does not end from e, that means it's masculine. And it's singular and it does not have any vowel either, right? So I'm left with du. That means je veux du pain. I want some bread. Now, if I take the same sentence in negative, that is, I don't want any bread. Okay, so whenever you're doing article partitif related question, you need to pay attention to the entire sentence. What students do is that they will only look at the word after the blank. Okay, they'll decide, oh, this is masculine, this is singular. That means you should go there. They will not look at the rest of the sentence. Later, they will realize that, oh, this nerpa was also there. That means it is negative. You need to look at the entire sentence. If the nerpa is there, I will not use any of these four because these are for positive sentences and they mean some. Here, I have to say any. Now this does not start from a vowel. Okay, that means I will pick de. So, je ne veux pas de pain. I don't want any bread. Now we come to a situation where food items are used, right? Where we're talking about a food item, but still we're not using article partitif. Now, what situation is that? So when we talk about, there are some verbs with which article partitive is not used, even though we're talking about some food related things. Okay, now what are these verbs? First we'll understand that. So you need to memorize that there are four verbs. First one is your adorer. Second one is your aimer. Third is your préférer. And fourth one is your détester. Now these verbs are really simple, okay, because you can easily translate them into English. Okay, adorer obviously means to adore, right? Aimer means to like, préférer means to prefer, détester means to detest, that is to hate. Now what is common in all four of them is that we're talking about either liking a food item or not liking, which is hating a food item. So we all have choices, right? Maybe I like salad. Someone else might not like salad. I like fries. You may not like fries, right? So when we like something or we hate something, we don't hate a portion of it, right? That, oh, I like some fries, but I don't like a lot of fries. Or I like little fries, I hate a lot of fries. Then what do we use instead? Even though we're talking about a food item, we will use article défini. So whenever these four words are in your sentence and you're describing a food item, you will use article défini. What is that? That is a le, la, l apostrophe and le. And what does it mean? All four of them mean the. They're used the same way according to the gender and number. Okay, but here I'm talking about I don't like the fries or I like the chocolate. Okay, so when I use the word the, there is no quantity. So whenever we're talking about a like or dislike, we use the article defini, which is why again it's really important for you to look at the entire sentence. When you don't look at the entire sentence, you will not realize that these verbs are there in your sentence or nerpa is there in your sentence. So you need to pay attention to them. I'll give you an example. This is my sentence. Now if I look at just this part, that is salad, that is my feminine singular. That means I will use the la. But this is incorrect. I hate some salad. That does not make sense. If you don't like salad, you don't like it at all. If somebody does not like salad, I give them a little bit, I give them a lot, I give them some, they will still say, I don't like salad. Right? So instead of saying some, we say the. I don't like the salad. So, je déteste la salade. I want to say I don't like chocolate. Obviously, nobody says that, but we'll take a strange example. So, negative also, if this verb is there, aimer, adorer, préférer, détester, we will still use article défini, that is the. So, I don't like the chocolate, I like the chocolate. Okay? So it becomes je n'aime pas le chocolat because it's masculine and singulier. So this was your article partitif. I hope you understood what it means, where we use it, when we don't use it. I hope the entire thing is clear to you. Thank you.